Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown. The post-Saviors post-balance change meta is fully settled in, and one thing has become abundantly clear. SnipSnap Warlock is the best deck in the format. For the first time since Druid's reign in Knights of the Frozen Throne, and for the first time ever in Wild, the Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot team is declaring a Tier S deck, meaning it is so far ahead of the rest of the meta that it's hard for serious players to justify playing anything else. What makes SnipSnap Warlock more than just the deck to beat, and how is the rest of the meta coping with the power of SnipSnap? Join us as we take a close look at the state of the Wild Hearthstone metagame. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel to stay up to date with our Hearthstone content. Now let's begin. In the weeks following the release of Saviors of Uldum, SnipSnap Warlock had grown from being a niche combo deck to being the most powerful deck in the format. What makes SnipSnap Warlock Tier S? Simply put, SnipSnap Warlock is the fastest, most consistent, and most resilient combo deck in the history of the game. In terms of speed, SnipSnap is certainly unmatched, with the ability to perform its OTK or generate a massive and virtually unbeatable board as early as turn 4 with the coin. In terms of consistency, with the sheer draw power of Life Tap and cycling engine of Kobold Librarians, Loot Hoarders, and Novice Engineers, it's shockingly easy to assemble the 3-card combo for the win. And in terms of resiliency, the SnipSnap combo is particularly difficult to fight against, since the combo hits before most reasonable counterplay is possible. Against targeted hate, SnipSnap players have adapted to include their own tech, such as Target Dummy as an anchor minion to buff with SnipSnap against Devolve, and Glinda Crowskin to double up on the combo in case the first wave falls to mass removal or is stifled by Dirty Rat. Aggro is normally a natural deterrent to this kind of combo, but with Warlock packing the most efficient mass removal ever printed, even the fastest aggro decks need to get lucky to pick up wins. With so many strengths and so few weaknesses, the deck has become the most popular deck at the top levels of Legend Ladder, and is becoming more and more popular at lower levels. The community's outcry against this archetype is universal, and we hope that Blizzard is listening and is willing to nerf one or more of the deck's key cards to disable the combo, or at least slow it down. In the meantime, the rest of the meta is either trying to position itself to fight SnipSnap, or fight the decks that try to counter it. At the top of our traditional Tier 1, Secret Mage maintains its position as the only deck in Tiers 1 and 2 that holds a positive win rate against SnipSnap. This is largely thanks to its early game board presence, disruptive secrets, and over-the-top damage. Against other decks, Arcane Flak Mage holds down the fort against aggro, and Alunith provides inevitability against control. With a wide range of strengths and straightforward gameplay, Secret Mage remains the most popular and powerful deck behind SnipSnap, but it can still be brought down by targeted hate and anti-aggro strategies. Even so, Secret Mage remains a solid pick for climbing ladder. Joining Secret Mage in Tier 1 is Odd Rogue. Like the Mage, Odd Rogue's strength is the early game, with a wide assortment of 1-drops, the patches the Pirate package, and the Poisoned Dagger's upgraded hero power. Once it establishes control, it builds on its early game advantages by generating value with cards like Evil Miscreant and Vilespine Slayer, and pushing damage with cards like Fungomancer and Leroy Jenkins. Odd Rogue remains consistent with a solid matchup spread across the board against most decks, and while it can't outright deal with a large board from SnipSnap Warlock, it has the tools to threaten the Warlock's life if it doesn't assemble the combo in time. Dedicated anti-aggro strategies continue to be Odd Rogue's key weakness, but we expect strategies that target aggro to lose relevance as SnipSnap Warlock becomes more and more popular. With a good position to dominate decks that are dedicated to fighting SnipSnap, Odd Rogue continues to be a mainstay of the format. SnipSnap Warlock is established as the best deck, and Secret Mage and Odd Rogue together are trailing a little bit behind. But what about the rest of the meta? Wild's Tier 2 features a wide assortment of decks that are powerful in their own right, but have mostly unfavorable matchups against SnipSnap, and are likely to have rough matchups against one or more of the Tier 1 decks. Even so, many of them remain popular and relevant on ladder, so you'll want to at least have them on your radar. The most popular decks in Tier 2 are the Highlander decks built around Zephyrus the Great, Kazakis, and Reno Jackson, specifically Reno Mage and Reno Warlock. In a world dominated by insane combos and fast aggro, Zephyrus is a powerful and flexible way to find the tools you need to survive. Whether it's a removal option to deal with an unreasonable board, or a way to deal the final points of damage to close out a game, Zephyrus has you covered. Reno decks remain popular largely thanks to their range of powerful options and fun and engaging gameplay, and in the hands of experienced players, they remain viable as anti-aggro strategies even if they don't have the best SnipSnap Warlock matchups. Mech Hand Buff Paladin also maintains its position as one of the most relevant decks in Tier 2. Like Secret Mage and Odd Rogue, Mech Hand Buff Paladin's angle of attack is to establish a board quickly and build on early advantages that spiral out of control. Sequences like Crystology into Grime Street Outfitter into Mech Warper with multiple magnetic buffs are particularly hard to beat and can even race the SnipSnap Warlocks combo. That being said, Mech Hand Buff Paladin is an all-in strategy with a tendency to fall flat against hard removal and silence effects, as well as dedicated anti-aggro strategies. Still, with a range of powerful threats and an even matchup spread against most popular decks, Mech Hand Buff Paladin remains a viable option. Beyond the top tiers, Wild has a ton of strategies that are brimming with potential, so even in a stable meta like this one, there are still strong decks you can play to successfully climb while breaking the mold. One such deck is Reno Hunter. Hunter is a dark horse class in Wild, but there are a few Hunter specialists like Wild Hunter Pioneer Duin that can make magic happen, such as bringing our featured Reno Hunter decklist to top 20 legend on multiple servers. In this deck, Dino Tamer Bran joins forces with Deathstalker Rexar, Katharina Winterwisp, and N'Zoth the Corruptor to form an overwhelming suite of late-game options that can stand toe-to-toe with the best that Wild has to offer. Against SnipSnap Warlock, Reno Hunter brings cutting-edge tech to the table. For instance, Swamp King Dread is a powerful threat that locks out all of the Mech Warper combos, and is sure to make short work of the Warlock if they can't find a reasonable answer in time. Wild Bloodstinger is another powerful disruptive option that's similar to Dirty Rat, except it usually destroys the minion it summons, making it particularly effective at sniping key minions like Glinda Crowskin. With Zephyrus providing critical outs to early board pushes and more, Reno Hunter is capable of a broad range of counterplay. Like the other Highlander decks in Wild, Reno Hunter has a substantial learning curve since it takes some experience in order to take full advantage of all of its synergies. Still, Reno Hunter's powerful options and engaging gameplay make it a reasonable option for stepping off the beaten path on your climb to legend. The meta has settled in, and SnipSnap Warlock reigns supreme in a tier of its own. As the post-Saviors meta comes to a close, it seems unlikely that any new or developing strategies will rise to the challenge and dethrone SnipSnap before the next expansion or set of balance changes. Still, with the next expansion's announcement looming on the horizon, and with Wild specialists continuing to push the format to its limits, what the future holds for Wild is anyone's guess. As always, be sure to check out the full meta snapshot for more details, and be sure to like and subscribe to this channel to keep an eye on further developments in Wild. Thanks for watching!